Back we are then here in Dubai. Then the first up match is a Pool D game between South Africa and Portugal. South Africa coming here from a 4th position at the Gold Coast in Australia, and Portugal, well, a disappointing effort from them there. They were 14th in the World Series last year and 11th in the Gold Coast, so lots of work to do there for Diego Miranda and his team against a very sprightly South African side. South Africa will be captained on the left there by Frankie Horn today. Carl Brown starts on the bench. He's the official captain of the side. And coming out there for Portugal, Alberto Esteves. We will have fond memories of playing South Africa here in 2012, the only victory that Portugal had over South Africa. So our referee for this game will be Richard Kelly, one of the 4 core referees for the series. So Richard Kelly then from New Zealand, along with Federico Anselmi, Anthony Moyes and Mike Adamson, are 4 of the core referees for all 9 tournaments. And then of course there are the supplementary ones too from various countries. Well, ace man then, Pedro Leal, it will be with the kickoff then for Portugal. He'll really want to try and keep this game as tight as they can against South Africa, given the fact that South Africa have probably their fastest combination, if nothing else, in the last couple of years. Alongside me, former Scottish international Scott Hastings. Scott, you were saying that you fancied South Africa that could go quite far in this tournament.
Yeah, Gavin, and welcome to viewers around the world. This magnificent Dubai Sevens, and well, I had the pleasure of commentating on this magnificent South African team at the Commonwealth Games back in Glasgow, Gavin, in July, and they beat New Zealand over there, and they were absolutely on top fire. Can they show the same form? We'll wait and see, because but they'll be out the blocks fast.
So Miranda looking to try and start something. That's the little kick through there from Pedro Leal. And Esteves, he's got a little bit of pace. He's a winger in 15s rugby, but he's had that ball taken away from him. It was good play that by Carl Murray. Very appreciative of the fact that the ball was still alive. Portugal not rolling away from the breakdown point.
You'll know that it's one of the teams, South Africa, they're always very pedantic in the way that if there's a penalty, they'll set it up, and they don't mind actually kicking for a little bit of possession, just slowing things down, go to the set piece. And Branco de Pria, of course, the small scrum half who will double up as the hooker. There he is, wearing that number 7 jersey, and he's got a great little step on him as well. He's a great breaker of defences.
Well, South Africa, along with Samoa and Argentina, the 3 top kicking sides in this tournament to date, who certainly do put the ball to boot. South Africa also perhaps mindful of the fact that they've got terrific pace, and if you use your kicking effectively, it can really work well. In the meanwhile, it's Branco de Pria with the carry up. That ball's available. Clever play there once again by the Portuguese. Big chase coming down there from Bernardo Cardoza. It's a good start this from Portugal. They've kept pressure on South Africa in their own half of the field.
Yeah, but also rusty from South Africa. Just the passes not being linked early doors. These players were actually out, Gavin, warming up at least an hour ago out on this pitch. And well, it's early in the morning here, Dubai, 9 o'clock local time, and it's still warm out there as well.
And of course, a lot of players not used to starting that early in the morning under normal circumstances, bearing in mind there's a fair number of players too that have played 15s, and up till quite recently on the South African side, Cheslin Colby and Sebola Senatla were part of the winning combination in the Currie Cup in South Africa for Western Province. This is Senatla. got terrific speed, has the left winger out there from Kwagga Smith. And the kick downfield from Philip Snyman, who's also a pacey player himself. Now here comes Werner Kok. Werner Kok is not going to get caught. That's a good finish that for South Africa. First time into the half of Portugal.
Well, Werner Kok, he asked for the crossfield kick, Gavin, earlier on, and the bounce was fortunate, but once he got it, he still had a little bit of work to do. Bounces nicely, had to get away from the attempted tackle there of Diogo Miranda, but Werner Kok, he's been such a great supporter of South African Sevens rugby, and he has scored some brilliant tries, most memorably against Fiji last year in Tokyo.
He's a very busy player, very much involved in the game. Can play in a multitude of positions too, and he's got the pace to carry him, getting away from Diogo Miranda, who's a natural fullback in 15s. Cecil Africa then, that's a super kick from him. Finding a little bit of space there. This is Estevez. Back in field, Portugal.
Gavin, you just mentioned there the quality of the kickoff was right into the sun, the shadows you can see of the players, so Portugal did well to get the possession, but it's South Africa on the attack again.
Oh, it's going to be a finish for Sinatla. Just deciding to come inside and outside, really playing with the opposition, and it's a good finish that for the winger. He's a multiple try scorer, 49 tries he's had to date, and scoring terrific.
Well, he's got his half century, hasn't he?
He's got his half century with that one.
Just Branco de Pria just on the good footwork on the loop around, wrap round pass, and, well, turning and tossing Sinatla in for the try.
No problem then for Branco de Pria with the conversion, and Sinatla there up to his number 50.
And just in a blink of an eyelid, Gavin, you had mentioned Portugal doing well by keeping South Africa pinned down in their own half. And look at that, a minute and a half left and 14-0 up to South Africa. That's how quickly, folks, the game of rugby sevens can change.
And as we mentioned a little earlier too, with the pace that South Africa have, they can score tries from very deep. Once again, it's Africa. Absolutely pinpoint, bearing in mind as well that he spends a lot of time practicing those kick-ins. Pressure at the breakdown coming from South Africa. It's kudos there to Frankie Horn and Philip Snyman. Here comes Africa. It's another chance for Sinatla. This time just using his strength, but did he manage to ground that ball?
Just on the grounding, I had a player on my waist. Lost foot. Lost foot.
That's a good call from Richard Kelly. Immediately just having a chat to his assistant referee, making the decision. Of course, they can go upstairs, but there you can see he's clearly lost it.
Tremendous defence, wasn't it, from Diego Miranda? Got the hand on the ball just as the South African player Sinatla was about to dot down for the try. Great defence there from the number 5 from Portugal.
Are we right on the stroke of half-time after the 7-minute clock, which will come fairly soon? They've lost the ball, Portugal, and at a time when they really needed to hold on to it. This is where South Africa can be extremely clinical. They've got the pace there. Yeah, this time it's Africa. A little step inside. The defence is breached.
Well, watch this turnover here for South Africa. It was Frankie Horn who dislodged the ball. Watch him come into your shot. There he goes. Gets the ball, flicks it back up here. And that was tremendous play by one of the most experienced players, and gave the pass out there to Africa. The twist, the twirl, and it's Magic Africa in for the try.
Well, it's a triple score then for Branco de Pria. 3 tries, 3 conversions for South Africa into a very healthy lead here in Dubai. And bearing in mind, South Africa played in the final last year against Fiji, which they were the losing finalist, but they've got some fond memories of this venue. 3 tries then. Werner Kok, Cecil Africa, and Sibola Sinatla.
Steady on, and last one, and in. Good stuff. Well done. Feel each other.
Change it off here, people. Alright, so it's off. Luister, boys. Doing great in defense. I will have lekker onder pressure vir die rucks. Put him under pressure. Alright. Maar ons gaan bietjie meer.
Pé, vocês um bocadinho mais. Estamos aí muito cedo, muito suave. E o árbitro está a dar imediatamente vantagem a ele, porque está a achar que nós estamos a cair muito cedo. Aguentem-se mais cedo em pé e o primeiro apoio é aparecer mais cedo sobre o portador da bola. Malta! Bora, caralho! Pá, malta, tínhamos combinado. Tínhamos ser fedidos. Não estamos ainda a ser.
Rustig, hierdie game is nie oor nie. Ons kop balle af. Hou dieselfde pressure maak het en ons gaan skoor as ons selfs kan begin opset. Alright boys, maar great pressure op defense. Ons hou hulle daar. Begin nou die skroef in te draai.
You're fucking up working harder than anybody else on this field, boys. Enjoy it, huh?
Yes!
So back on then for the second half, and it'll be once again South Africa looking to get a pinpoint kick, this time going pretty deep onto Pedro Leal. One thing Portugal do a lot of is to use Adorito Esteves to carry the ball up where he can. This time it's Jolinho, but for the second time Portugal have surrendered possession in a dangerous position. South Africa have brought on Cheslin Colby, so they've got some extra pace to go with this man, Sibola Sinatla. The pass in field, and that's very well taken by Werner Kok to get his second try here in Dubai.
Well, such a feature of seven-a-side rugby is undoubtedly the follow-up pass and the support player, and here's a great example of Werner Kok following his man. You thought that Sinatla was into the corner, but look at this, again, ball in two hands by Africa, winning that number 5 jersey. There he is. You just saw him just trap the pass. It's just an instinctive player, Werner Kok.
Yeah, Portugal being forced into a position there where South Africa could use width against them, and they haven't really had to exert the pace that they would have wanted, but this is the conversion from South Africa, and it's marginally wide. 64% conversion rate it was down in the Gold Coast, and as we've seen over the years with the drop kicking has certainly improved. So a commanding lead this for South Africa now, 26 points. Their defense has not been breached. Africa, it's another big kick there, and it's a great take that from Diego Miranda, the captain of Portugal.
Great play by Carl Brown, wasn't it, to wrap the Portuguese and turn over the ball. Here's the tape, but watch Brown, he's right in there, Slayman as well. Two South African players just holding up the Portuguese, getting the turnover player. And Ruhan Nel also involved in the action.
We heard the message, Scott, at half-time, which you wouldn't have understood. It was in Afrikaans from Neil Powell.
Oh, I know a little bit of Afrikaans.
Well, it's the wrong words that you know, that's the thing. But he was talking about tempo, just keeping that tempo up. And there again, a very strong scrum. Quickly out from Colby. Now, I tell you what, there's some real pace in the South African side. They haven't really had to use it. That ball, I think, was carried back there by Nuno Goodez.
I played advantage.
Yeah, Richard Kelly. Great refereeing there, actually, Richard Kelly. Just indicating to Carl Brown that he called the advantage over from the initial offside from the scrum. But what a great attacking option here for South Africa.
I think that's an understatement, Scott. Lovely in the middle of the park with all the pace that they've got. Can Portugal defend against this? Important for them to try and get out of their territory right now. Colby. That ball came right through them. South Africa going route one. Now once again, yes, Colby. He's got a big step too. But that's good defense, that from Portugal. They're just hurried. They really are standing on Sinatla, not giving him an option to move. To have any say in this game, Portugal really have got to try and get some points very quickly. But some basic errors from them. In fact, South Africa coming into the World Series, the second leg here in Dubai, Neil Powell has had some concerns, Scott, with regards to the basic errors that South Africa, some handling errors. They just haven't really fired on all cylinders.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of rustiness in the opening 2 minutes, and the fact is he's rotating his full squad. He's getting, we often call the first tie that you play in a sevens the blowout, because you're really, it's getting you up to game speed. And in this game, especially with these guys in the South African jerseys, they are fast, so they need to get up to game speed.
Time on. Please wait for the ball.
Well, two replacements then, South Africa, and maybe Neil Powell quite comfortable with where he is. He gives Warwick Gallant his debut for the Blitzbokke. He's the 156th player for South Africa in sevens, and he's on the park along with Reno Benjamin. First touch there for Gallant. Still a youngster. Here comes Werner Kok. Very committed running. And, eventually, it was good defensive work there from Duarte Moreira.
Good tackle. Notice how he kept accelerating into the tackle, forced Werner Kok out on the wide fringes. It'll be Portugal with a throw-in from Nuno Guedes.
Strong take there from Vasco Mendes.
Offside.
So that's good pressure there from Portugal with South Africa offside. There's Reno Benjamin, one of the more experienced players in the side. Portugal deciding, hey guys, let's get out of our half of the field, because that's where we've spent it in the second half.
Please wait.
So all that 5 subs in off the South African bench, and the rotation of the squad so important across 2 days of international rugby. Hope you're enjoying this opening tie here in the Dubai Emirates Sevens.
9 rounds it is, heading into May next year when it finishes in Twickenham. This is good running here from Ruan Nel. Has the Chris Dry lookalike. Chris Dry not playing in this tournament. That's good play from Brown. He's opened up the space. Here comes Kok again. And as we said, Werner Kok, such a busy player. He's always around the ball, doing the hard yards.
Hat-trick time for South Africa. Werner Kok in at the corner. Just South Africa, just clinical efficiency. That's what it is. And on the wide outside channels, you're not going to stop that guy.
It is the width of the field that South Africa have used so well. They did that in the Gold Coast on a number of occasions too. Ruan Nel also with a hat-trick. But Werner Kok, that's a special occasion for him, and it's well deserved with the hard work that he puts in. Portugal have replaced Adarito Esteves. And the conversion is wide, but South Africa in a very commanding lead of those 31 points. Trend amongst the South Africans is always to pat that badge, the little Springbok. And that happens at 15s as well as at 7s. That's been a good feature for South Africa, the kick-ins. They've gone really well in this game. They've put pressure on the opposition. Now Nel, quick pass Colby. And the charge through here from Reno Benjamin.
Advantage tackle entry.
Now can they finish this off? Carl Brown, he's a very shrewd runner with the ball. And it's going to be a little step in there for Philip Snyman. His first try of the Dubai tournament.
Yeah, Snyman in for the try, and really poor defensive effort from Portugal. Duarte Moreira, he got sucked in. Note how Carl Brown held. Here's the switch pass here. Carl Brown holds the ball in 2 hands. He sucked in the outside defender. Well, you're not going to score an easier try than that in sevens rugby.
Well, Scott, you as a former centre three-quarter, and you have a look at Carl Brown, who's a natural open-sider. And you see how beautifully he just drew his man to create the space. The kick from Colby has gone pretty wide, but South Africa will be very happy with their first up effort. With those 6 tries in this game without reply against Portugal, and a very good start for the men who played in the final last week.
Well, one of the great aspects of our situation here is we get all these match facts coming up, and look at those passes completed, 26. It shows you the dominance in the second half. That only 12 passes were actually completed by South Africa in the first half, so they upped the intensity, got the Portuguese under pressure. They lost the ball. Look at that stat, bottom left, total ball given away 10 times. So just have a look as well. We've got some great stats on the South Africans here about the player stats. Leading tackle Schneemann in there with the 3, and you look at the influence of Koch. He was scored 3 tries and carried the ball on 6 occasions. So lots of action here throughout the day here at the HSBC Sevens World Series.